Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome back to another Wargame, a Red Dragon replay cast. Today it is a 1 vs 1 on Plunging Valley again, between our blue player Faust and our red player Razzman, who is actually under the name Razzman this time around. Alright, speed this up to the 810x mark there. All the units come out, all the good stuff starts to happen, all the good times, all the partying like it's 1999, all the cheese. All that good stuff starts to happen. And I believe this game is part of a tournament. And I didn't actually know the tournament was going on. I've been out of the loop for a day or two. And so I don't know what game it is really necessarily, but it's going to be a good game either way because it is Faust and Razzman. I guess that was a sort of a mix of both the players. Roust. But Faust and Razzman, both players, pretty much top of the ladder. I think Faust is maybe number 2 and Razzman's 3rd, something like that. But they're pretty much top 10 players either way. Faust was number 1 for the longest time, then ML Alexander took it. And LSTR's in the town there. Going to get wiped out here by the Gru. Does have the 2 BMP-1s to fire on the Gru as well. And now a BTR-90 here going to be fired back. And not quite the firepower of the BMP-1, but 2 BTR-90s here going to be fired on the Mott-Schützen and going to hammer him down and do tons of damage there. And 2 T-64 BMs and a Tunguska over there. Meanwhile, the majority of the forces of Razzman are on the right, just now getting ready to attack the town here. Gru right on the edge of the town. And Mott-Schützen rolling up. 2 BMPs. Able to fire on the Gru, but looks like they can't quite get a shot on him. There they go, starting to wind up now. And quad BMP-1s here. And the Wilk also firing as well. And so the Gru back up into the town for now. Gotta let the Mott-Schützen get a little bit closer. The BMP-1s unable to fire into the backside of that town. And now Faust completely taken over the left side of the map. Foxtrot overwhelmed. And now moving close into Alpha. Take the BTR-90s in the woodlines. And another Wilk here coming from Razzman and SPW-80. There's an Mi-24D. Gonna spot that and possibly rocket it. And does hit it, but the LSTRs survive. Just panicked. And in the town here, Mott-Schützen have successfully made it to the town. 20 more Mott-Schützen gonna get on the spot of the Gru. So the Gru are definitely in trouble here. And not gonna last too much longer. So Bravo is Razzman's, Foxtrot entirely Faust. The LSTR trying to deal with the BTR-90. And Sopel takes out the Mi-24 before it gets to the UAZ. Now moving up. And T-72 Wilk hanging out in the front here. T-64 BM moving on up. Now battle of the mediums about to begin. And the Wilk firing on something. Taking wild shots. Just shot way over there. I guess that guy needs to go back to boot camp. But that does happen from time to time. Rocket plane there hits the T-64, does a few bars of damage, nothing too crazy, but gonna lose that to the Tunguska. And T-64 launching Cobras at the Wilk with 1 bar left, and it's gonna try and make that back here, repair that up while he can. Meanwhile, Pekota and Gru are making it into the town. The Führung's UAZ not gonna last too much longer there in Alpha, and the Wilk taken out by the T-64 BM. From downtown, sort of Carl Malone, the mailman, delivering packages all the way from down there. And a PD flying in the air. And perhaps it spotted that Mi-17 trying to attack it. Or not, one of the two. No, he's just having a good time, doing circles and spins and do a barrel roll. And Sopel spots him though. And there goes a Grom, another one firing here. And looks like both hit And did a good chunk of damage, but now it is out of range, and we'll be able to evac away. That is one bold MiG-25 flying with its rear end facing the area here. Any air could come out and hit that MiG-25 and take it out very quickly. And now the T-64BM is getting into some better positioning. And the GRU going to be moving up as well. Although the GRU can't see too well up here as that line of sight. But the closer the better. Tunguska also moving up. T-64BM took a shot or two there. Su-25 now going to be fired at the BM and missed. And now is stunned by the Tunguska. And Tunguska fails to take out the Su-25. Meanwhile, on the right side, Razzman still pushing. Has some BMP-1s up front there. SPW-80 going to make a bold move and try and get as far as he can and see what's going on here. The BRDM should be able to take that out if he can actually hit it. And there he goes, a few rounds there, peppered it up. And takes that out. Now he knows at least there's a BRDM there. And a T-64 of some sort there. K-29 CV going to be dropping off there in Foxtrot. And now the CV has been pushed out of Alpha and has been brought all the way over to the center here. So now a +2 advantage for Faust for holding Delta. Good Notke moving on into the Alpha area here, but the Pagoda waiting at the edge. And we'll eat those up pretty well. And BM spots some Mott Schutzen over there, just barely, so they move. An additional recon being choppered in. And we'll see where he decides to put this. And I really like the classic recon move, dropping recon off there and having it into town. Always a fun thing to do. As soon as they spawn things, they get hit by a rocket launcher, then you have to kill it. And it slows you down a lot. MiG on in, gonna rocket something, but what to rocket, and just gonna evac that. It looks like they didn't go off, or he lost vision of his target temporarily. K-29 now flying on in, and the Mi-24D and the Mi-17 going at it. 24D wins. Notke finds the VDV in the woods, unable to really push up any further. And 2 BMP-1s filled with troops, ready to push up a little bit here, but the T-64B, I'm going to make that hard to do, and BTRD at the edge as well with the quads. And rocket aircraft, rather, the rocket MiG. Looking for some trouble. Looks like it fired off its main missiles there, or rather its sidearm missiles, whatever you'd want to call that, I suppose. I suppose its main would be the rocket, then the side would be the missiles. And I think he may have fired and taken out that Mi-24. I didn't actually see that happen. K-29 here coming to Alpha, and that's a pretty crazy move. I really enjoy that. That's pretty nice. He was originally going to put it there in Foxtrot. That would be the safe bet. Would give him a +3 advantage, but he's just going to go straight for the throat here and try and put it in Alpha instead. And try and get it into the town. Sopel shows its face there. T-64BM insta-kills it. And now the CV here going to be running into what looks like the wood line. Going to forego the town there, a little too close to the enemy. And going to get in the wood line. And T-64 gets taken out by their Su-25K with the help of the M4P and the K-29 going after Mott Schutzen and eating them up pretty well. But there still is that Pagoda up front, so as soon as they get in with range of that machine gun, that RPK is going to start hacking them up. And another 25K here launching at the BM, unable to take that. +4 advantage for Faust. And Mott Schutzen tried to make it in the line there, but Svetsad's GRU finished those off. And sort of a weird situation here for Razzman. He was trying to get into his own town from his enemy's side, and his enemy actually has a Spetsnaz Gru on the opponent's side there. So when he tried to get in, got all hacked up. But there is some troops here, a decent amount of troops, a little hardy. And SU-24 takes a shot from the OSA, but it will evac away. And BMP has moved up, by the looks of it, a little bit there. And is ready to attack that BRDM, but can't quite see it. And the M4 here going to be releasing on the CVs, trying to move those troops. And I don't think it's going to happen, though. Nope, loses those troops. Still +2 advantage for Faust, though, so not too big of a deal. And that's why Foxtrot would have been the safe bet, as he would have had a +3. And I think he would have actually gotten a lot more points out of Fox, even by now. Even though he had a +2 from here, it would have been in Fox much longer ago, and would have gotten him that +1 for an extended period of time. But not too big of a deal when you're +2 and your opponent doesn't have their main frontier there. And now Matshutzen going to be pushing in on those Spetsnaz Gru. And that Dragunov is off. And Matshutzen do have it out for him, but the Gru, now the Dragunov is on and individually sniping some of those Matshutzen. And the Wilk coming on over to assist that area there. There's a Ka-29 in the air, the BRDM being brought up as well, T-64 in the back, and for Razzman, a couple BMP 1s. With Matshutzen, they have to get out and deal with the Spetsnaz Gru that is in his base. Still +2 for Faust, and an OSA is on the way as well. SU-25K uses its minigun there. Takes that out. The 25 PD going to try and take that out. Maybe get a side shot on that 25K. And don't think that's going to survive there. Taken out. And now the MiG-25 is up out. It is all out of missiles. And K-29 going to dangerously close to the Jednotki here. Going to try and spot them. And look for troops here as well. None to be found at the moment. And now a big old push of troops is moving in. Matshutzen and Jednotki. And these troops here, the recon, Czech recon, but I'm sure somebody knows how to pronounce that in the comments. How do you pronounce that? I don't even give a... some of the Czech names and the Polish names, I don't even try. I'm just like, yeah, the Pruzes. Get those for recon. Those ones. Strop taken out by the MiG-27 there. And I'm sure somebody knows how to pronounce it. There's always somebody out there that'll just be like, oh, it's pronounced like, you know, it's easy. What are you, stupid? You don't know how to read Czechoslovakian names? And Matshutzen going to be moving up as well. And looks like the end of the Pechota for Alpha very soon. So he will be able to bring that UAZ back shortly and stop that big loss of points. But maybe too little too late. That +2 advantage for Faust having that the whole time. Faust's going to have a hard time getting troops back in there to hold that, and with these Jednotki in the way. But there's only 3 of them, so should be able to take those out with these Pechota here, no problem. With 30 of them, of course he would. But that's going to slow him down just a little bit, instead of he could just been driving all the way down the road there and getting back into Alpha. And there are 2 PDs in the air. And the UAZ now being brought back in. And another UAZ for Faust here coming on in. So it will give him a +1. So you'll lose that +2, but he's just going to gain a +1 immediately thereafter. As Bravo still uncaptured and no CV coming in anytime soon. And MiG-27 evacing and went over those LSTR there. Got hit by a couple Iglas and down to 2 bars of health there. MiG-25 evacing as well. And the ML on its tail, but not quite the ASF that it really aspires to be. And a 25K now coming on in. I'm going to try and snipe that BTR-90. Does get it. And drops a few bombs while it's at it. And has 1 bomb left. And I'm going to go after that T-64 BM. And peppers it up pretty good. Enough for that Wilk to finish it off with just 1 bar of health as well. And Su-24 now coming out. And I'm going to try and defend the skies there. 25 PD firing as well, but it looks like it gets out in time. And UAZ gives him a +1 advantage. And another CV needs to be brought into Bravo. And now Faust owning the edge of the town here. With a couple Pechota. These 15 here not quite in the town just yet. The BMP-3s firing away on some Mott shoots and getting in the town there. And additional Motostrelki ready to go as well. And rocket truck takes out a BMP-3. Another Tunguska on the way and a BRDM from Faust. And another OSA on the way as well. So 2 OSAs will be up front there. And one only has 3 missiles, nearly out of ammunition. Rather, halfway out of ammunition. I suppose if you're a pessimist, he is nearly out. And if you're a optimist, well, he's still got half of his missiles. He'll be just fine. BMP-1 versus the BMP-3 right now. BMP-1 is firing at some Pechota there. So they're going to lose that BMP-3's rocket there. And now 2 PDs here coming after the Su-25K. Don't think he's going to make it and gets taken out there pretty quick, but the OSA is going to fire. Other OSA still on the move, and it begins to fire. The Strop also firing away at it. But fails to kill both of them. Very interesting. That was quite a bit of missiles that was chucked at him. That was 3 missiles, and I think the Strop fired a little bit too. Very lucky PDs. And 2 PTRDs moving in with some troops as well. One of them moving over to the right side. Help secure that area. And MiG ML moving on in here, looking for something to kill, but unable to do that. And my camera just went real wacky there. Went after the Tunguska for a moment. And the Mott Shootzen pushing on in. Just 14 Pechota here, but there's 6 Janotki and 19 Pechota, or Mott Shootzen moving on in. And a BRDM here moving towards the action as well. I'll be able to spy what's going on in that area. Still the +1 advantage for Faust at the moment. And the Führungs CV going to be moving into Bravo for Razzman. 0 the game out once again. Su-24, MiG-27, and a PD in the air. So lots of air power going on right now for Faust. And the 2 OSAs have merged their powers together. And are now up front in a pretty good spot here. MiG-27 is going to fly right near him. And is it going to be close enough? He had his radar off momentarily there for those Su-24. Then he turned it back on. Going to have to turn that radar back off if that Su-24 comes around again. And now going to move the OSAs up to the wood chunk here. And 23ML takes out a supply vehicle there. And the M4P flying around as well, looking for some radar. There's only the Tunguska there that I see, and that has been off for some time, so I'm not going to get anything there. And the UAZ not going for Bravo. But looks like he may be trying to get that into Delta, which is a good idea. That would give him a +1 advantage, but he also needs Bravo. Getting Bravo would give him a +2 advantage if he took Delta and Bravo there. And Osa finally takes down some aircraft there. LSTR were pushing across open ground for a moment there, got punished by that BRDM and the VDV. And that UAZ is creeping on up. Going to try and get it in the area there, but there's not a lot to defend that area, just the Janaki and a few LSTR. The rocket plane there takes out the majority of those VDV. And the Tunguska has been marked by Razzman, finding out where that is, but the Tunguska is on the move and will not remain in the same place for long. Now the Furyang's UAZ being brought in, and we'll stop right on the line or so. We'll give Razzman the +1. Spetsnaz against the LSTR here. Going to clean those up pretty quickly. Along with the BTRD. Firing its quad PKD, but now that is destroyed. So that didn't last too long, but they never do. PD in disguise, searching for trouble here. And Spetsnaz trying to make it in. BRDM is going to be pushing up too to try and get in there, but it's going to get peppered up by the Wilk here, and he's trying to back it up now. And it's going to take a shot, but didn't kill it. 1 bar of health left on that, and panicked with good reason. T-64 also moving in here. Spetsnaz is going to have to deal with the SPW-80s and the Napalm. Not going to do too well against them. T-64 now firing at the Wilk here, and a miss. And a couple of BTR-90s, BTR-Ds moving in here. BMPT as well. Try and deal with some of the pushing infantry here with those frags. And the BRDRM here gets himself a lot of kills and just peppering up this whole area here, and forced the infantry there to bail out a little early, and are now pushing on in. And Tunguska could probably even turn on its radar and pepper those up, but that would certainly give itself away and may be unnecessary, but always a good time. And SU-24 looking for some radar to kill. Not going to happen though. The radar, the OSAs are off and the supply limited. And just really repairing infantry here. His ammunition is off as well, so the OSA is not going to get anything from that. Not that it has much supply to go around anyway, so the LSTR is now replenished, but only 1 Igla, so not actually replenishing the ammunition on them. And T-64 moving on in, Pagoda moving in, BTR-90 getting all jacked up there by the Wilk, and BTRD going to try and make it into the line here, going to get away from the sight of that Wilk. And I still want to see a CV here going to Bravo if he can afford it, which is easier said than done, but would give him a +2 advantage and may actually make him catch up within the 15-minute time limit that is left within this game. And now the Pagoda are inside the wood line. T-72 failed to stop them all. And the LSTR here trying to replenish, but there is not a lot left in this supply vehicle. And the Furyang's UAZ is in trouble. The Pagoda would just need to move up a little bit more to see that. And LSTR in the BMPT here coming from the side. T-64 takes a RPG-29 to the face. And just 4 LSTR left, and T-72 Wilk fired away on all of those troops there trying to enter the town. or rather the wood line, and lost all of them because of that. The T-72 here is going to subject to some stay close missiles. But the Strop says otherwise, and it's going to pepper up the 24D. 24D just needs to land, get those troops out of there, and just be done with it for now. And that's exactly what he's going to do. Just going to land, pop those recon troops out of there. And thought he was, but did not. And lost the recon troops in there because of that. I think he could have got those out of there, no problem. And now the VDV moving on in. The LSTR are in the way, and the Wilk as well. And SU-24M here going to do a bombing run. And going to pepper all over the area here. The UAZ is going to get caught up right in that and takes them all out there. Now +1 for Faust once again. And so Razzman only totaled about 67 points there in that +1 advantage, and could have got a lot more if he had that Bravo, but also probably would have lost this a little earlier had those points not being used to reinforce the area. Would have essentially doubled that at about 120 with Bravo. MiG-23 moving in. And definitely looking for some trouble. Oh, come on. We don't want none of that. And now Razzman thoroughly owns the center here. Nothing really of Faust in the area. It's T-64 BM and the Tunguska and a CV, or excuse me, a supply vehicle moving on in. Tunguska gets peppered up there by the T-72 Wilk, and now it's about the T-64 versus the Wilk, and T-64 only had 1 bar, so that wasn't going to last very long. And now nothing to supply, so the Ural's job is done. Time to go home, take a break. Everybody died, so unfortunately we can't supply anybody. And a big push here from Razzman. 40 Mott shoots and 10 LSTRs, a couple BMP2s and BMP1s, 73mm and the 30mm. Another LSTR there, and SPW-80 for what it's worth. And there goes an Igla, strikes the MiG-23, and everything else takes it down there with the Strop, and the MiG rocket fired as well. Now the Mi-17s here are going to be pushing forward, but there's a BRDM going to fire back at him, and that's going to rocket that and stunned it temporarily. And now they're going after the town here to see what they can spot, and should be able to spot this CV. But that is going to do it. Looks like Razzman GG'd out. Faust, the winner, took Alpha by storm there on his opponent's side, and had that for the majority of the game. Got himself like 360 some odd points before he was actually forced out of there. So very well played there. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.